Your grandmother is not gone. I know how that sounds. I know grief is real. I know loss is real. I'm not trying to minimize either. But I want to tell you something that physics says with complete clarity, not as comfort, not as metaphor, but as a direct consequence of equations confirmed by thousands of experiments, equations running inside the GPS in your phone right now. The past still exists. Not in memory, not in photographs, not in the stories people tell. I mean, the past exists in exactly the same sense that the chair you're sitting in exists physically, literally. Right now, most people have never heard this. Most people will hear it and immediately assume I'm being poetic. I'm not. This is what special relativity, one of the most precisely tested theories in the history of science, actually says about the structure of reality. And the implications are stranger than almost anything else physics has discovered. I'm Leonard Susskind. I've spent 50 years working with the equations of relativity, using them, teaching them, following them to places that feel impossible. And the one conclusion I keep arriving at, the one that still stops me cold when I think about it carefully, is this. The boundary between past, present, and future is not what you think it is. It's not a fundamental feature of the universe. It's a feature of how you experience the universe. And those are very different things. Let me show you why. And I'm going to be precise, no hand-waving. Start with the intuition everyone has. The present is real. It's where everything exists, where everything happens. The past was real once, but it's gone, now dissolved, erased, vanished into nothing. The future doesn't exist yet. It's unwritten, waiting to be created. Philosophers have a name for this view. They call it presentism. The idea that only the present moment is real. That reality is a knife edge, an infinitely thin slice of now moving relentlessly forward through time. It feels obviously correct. It matches every experience you've ever had. Every memory you have is of something that no longer exists. Every anticipation is of something that doesn't exist yet. Only now is real. And it is completely, thoroughly, irreversibly wrong. Here's how we know. In 1905, Einstein published Special Relativity. Among its many consequences was a result so strange that even physicists spent decades not fully absorbing what it meant. Simultaneity, the question of whether two events happen at the same time, is not absolute. It depends on who's asking. Let me make this concrete with a thought experiment. Einstein himself loved. You're standing in the middle of a train car. I'm on the platform watching the train rush past at very high speed. At the exact moment the front of the train passes me, lightning strikes the front. At the exact moment the back of the train passes me, lightning strikes the back. From my perspective on the platform, both strikes happen simultaneously. I'm equidistant from both. The light from each reaches me at the same instant. Simultaneous, same moment, clear. Now, from your perspective on the train, did those strikes happen at the same time? No, they didn't. The train is moving forward. You're moving toward where the front strike occurred and away from where the back strike occurred. The light from the front reaches you before the light from the back. And this is not an optical illusion. It's not about light travel time creating false impressions. In your reference frame, the front strike genuinely happened first. Two events. I call them simultaneous, you call them sequential. Neither of us is wrong. There is no fact of the matter. Simultaneity, the question of what happens at the same time, depends on who's asking and how fast they're moving. Now think about what this does to presentism. If now means different things to observers in different states of motion, then what exists now means different things to observers in different states of motion. If the present is the only thing that exists, and the present is observer dependent, then what exists is observer dependent. But the universe can't actually change what exists based on how fast someone is moving near Earth. The only coherent resolution, the only way to make this consistent is that everything exists past, present, and future. All of it. The question of what's now isn't a question about what's real. It's a question about which slice through a pre-existing four-dimensional structure a particular observer happens to call the present. Let me give you a calculation that stops my students cold every time. Imagine my friend Alice is in a spaceship flying past Earth toward the Andromeda Galaxy, 2.5 million light years away at 90% of the speed of light. At that velocity, Alice's surface of simultaneity, the set of events she considers to be happening right now, is tilted relative to mine by a significant angle in space-time. Her now in the Andromeda Galaxy corresponds to a moment about 800 years different from what I consider now in Andromeda. If she turns around and flies away from Andromeda at the same speed, her now in Andromeda shifts by 1,600 years in an instant. She simply changed direction here near Earth. She did nothing to Andromeda. Andromeda is 2.5 million light years away. No influence can travel that fast. The only explanation that works, the only one that doesn't break physics, is that all of those moments in Andromeda exist. All of them. The 800 years before Alice is now, the 800 years after, they're all real. They're all there. Alice changing her velocity doesn't change what's real. It changes which slice of the already existing structure she calls the present. This is what physicists call the block universe, or eternalism. The universe is a four-dimensional structure, 3 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of time. And all of it, every event, every moment, every instant exists as part of this structure. The Big Bang exists there. The formation of the first stars exists there. Your birth exists there. This moment exists there. Your death exists there. The heat death of the universe, billions of years from now, exists there. Not happening one after another. Not sequentially, with earlier moments ceasing to exist as later moments appear. All of it simultaneously in the four-dimensional structure. You, right now, are a 3-dimensional cross-section through a 4-dimensional object. Your world line, the technical term for your path through space-time, is a long curved thread extending from the moment of your birth to the moment of your death. All of it exists. Every moment of your life is equally real, equally present in the space-time structure. The dinosaurs haven't ceased to exist. They're located at particular space-time coordinates, roughly 65 million years in our past, but those coordinates are just as real as the coordinates of this present moment. Just as real. Just elsewhere in the four-dimensional structure. I know this sounds like I'm playing word games. Exist somewhere in space-time versus exist now. Aren't those just different ways of saying the same thing? No, they're not. And the Alice example is exactly why. If they were the same thing, Alice turning around near Earth couldn't change anything about Andromeda. But it changes her now in Andromeda by 1,600 years. The only resolution is that Andromeda's past and future both exist fully as part of the structure. Alice's motion just changes which part she calls present. Let me give you one more example that makes this even more concrete. The ladder paradox. You have a ladder 10 meters long and a barn 8 meters long. Obviously, the ladder doesn't fit inside the barn. But now imagine the ladder is moving very fast, fast enough that length contraction, a real consequence of special relativity, makes the ladder appear only 6 meters long from the barn's perspective. At that speed, the ladder fits entirely inside the barn. Both doors can be simultaneously closed while the ladder is inside. But here's the problem. In the ladder's reference frame, length contraction runs the other way. The barn is moving relative to the ladder. So in the ladder's frame, the barn is even shorter, only 4 meters. The ladder definitely doesn't fit. The doors cannot both be closed simultaneously while the ladder is inside. So does the ladder fit in the barn or not? Both answers are correct. And the resolution requires the relativity of simultaneity. In the barn's frame, both doors close simultaneously. In the ladder's frame, the front door opens before the back door closes. The events are not simultaneous. Neither observer is wrong. Both descriptions are physically valid. But notice what this requires. The door openings and closings are real events at real space-time coordinates. They all exist. The question is only which ones are simultaneous in which frame. The space-time events are not created by observation. They exist. Their simultaneity is frame-dependent. This is not a curiosity. This is the deep structure of reality. Now let me address the most natural objection. You're experiencing time flowing right now as you watch this video. The present feels undeniably real. Things are happening. There's a before and after. This isn't an illusion. It's your direct experience. You're right. Your experience of the present is completely real. I'm not denying it. I'm explaining what that experience corresponds to in the underlying physics. Your brain is a physical system running at a certain speed. Neurons fire, signals propagate, computations update. At each moment along your world line, your brain is in a particular state. Each brain state has rich information about the past encoded in memory and no information about the future because information flows forward in time, not backward. Each brain state experiences itself as now because that's what now is, the moment of active processing. The experience of time flowing forward is what it feels like to be a forward processing information system embedded in a static four-dimensional structure. The flow is real as an experience. It is not a fundamental feature of space-time. The space-time structure is static. Your experience of moving through it is a consequence of how your brain processes information, not a consequence of time actually moving. Here's something that confirms this in a way anyone can verify. The GPS satellites orbiting Earth are moving fast relative to the surface. According to special relativity, their clocks tick slightly slower than clocks on the ground. If engineers didn't account for this, if they treated time as the same for everyone, your GPS would accumulate an error of about 11 kilometers per day. Every navigation system on Earth would be useless within hours. They do account for it. Your GPS works. Time dilation is real. The relativity of time is not a theory, it's an engineering specification. Einstein understood this at a level deeper than anyone. When his lifelong friend Michel Besso died in 1955, Einstein wrote to Besso's family, "Now he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me." That means nothing. People like us who believe in physics know that the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Einstein wasn't being poetic. He wasn't consoling a grieving family with beautiful words that he didn't really mean. He was stating what special relativity implies about the structure of reality. He believed it completely, and he was right. Now I need to acknowledge a genuine complication. Quantum mechanics is probabilistic. Before measurement, quantum systems exist in superpositions, genuinely undetermined states. The future is not just unknown. In quantum mechanics, the future is actually undetermined until something happens to determine it. Does this contradict the block universe? Does quantum uncertainty mean the future doesn't exist yet? This is one of the deepest unresolved questions at the boundary of physics and philosophy. And I'll be honest, we don't have a fully satisfying answer, but here's what I find striking. Even with quantum uncertainty about the future, the past is unambiguously determined. Once an event has occurred, once a measurement has been made, once decoherence has happened, that event is fixed. It's in the four-dimensional record. It cannot be unwritten. Quantum mechanics complicates our picture of the future. It doesn't touch the existence of the past. And if the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics is correct, and it has serious, thoughtful proponents among the best minds in physics, then the block universe extends into a quantum block multiverse. Every possible outcome of every quantum measurement exists in the four-dimensional structure. Every branch of the wave function is equally real. The past doesn't just exist. It exists in all its quantum branches, every path that was taken and every path that wasn't. That's even more past than you thought existed. The distinction between past, present, and future is a persistently stubborn illusion. Now let me bring this back to where we started, because this is where it becomes both most disturbing and most profound. Your grandmother, at the space-time coordinates of her last moments, exists. Those coordinates are inaccessible to you. You cannot travel back in time. You cannot interact with her there. But inaccessible and non-existent are completely different claims. Think about the Andromeda Galaxy right now. There is presumably something happening there, stars forming, light traveling, events unfolding. I cannot see it. Any light I could receive from Andromeda left 2.5 million years ago. In a very real sense, Andromeda's present is inaccessible to me. But no one argues that what's happening in Andromeda right now doesn't exist simply because I can't see it. Your past is the same, inaccessible, but real. Your 5-year-old self is sitting somewhere, right now, at those space-time coordinates. The version of you making every decision you most regret that person is still there, at those coordinates, real, unvanished, undeleted from the structure of the universe. I don't know if that's comforting or terrifying. Probably both. Here's something else the block universe implies that most people never think about. Personal identity across time becomes genuinely strange. You think of yourself as a continuous entity. Yesterday's you and today's you are the same person. Same brain, mostly same memories, same body with some molecular turnover. The same. But in the block universe, you are a four-dimensional object. A long thread of matter and information extending from birth to death. You right now are a three-dimensional cross-section through that thread. Is yesterday's cross-section the same as today's? In the spatial analogy, your left hand and your right hand are both parts of you, spatially connected. Similarly, yesterday's you and today's you are both parts of your four-dimensional world line, temporally connected. But we don't say your left hand is the same as your right hand. We say they're both parts of the same person. Similarly, yesterday's you is not literally the same as today's you. They're different temporal parts of the same four-dimensional entity. This matters more than it might seem. When we hold someone responsible for a crime committed years ago, we're treating past and present as parts of the same four-dimensional object, which is exactly what the block universe says they are. The law instinctively understands what the physics confirms. What it means practically is this. The past is fixed. It's already part of the four-dimensional record. You cannot erase it. You cannot change it. The question of how to undo what you've done is the wrong question. It's done. It's in the structure. The right question is, what does the rest of your world line look like from here? What gets added to the four-dimensional record ahead of you? That is genuinely open. That is genuinely in your hands. The block universe is not fatalism. It doesn't mean the future is predetermined. It means when those future moments become past moments, they will be fixed in the structure. Right now, they're not. Your choices matter. Not because they can change what exists in the past. They can't. But because they determine what gets written into the structure that doesn't exist yet. The past is real. The present is real. The future is real. All of it. Always. Forever part of the fabric of space-time. That's not philosophy. That's not comfort. That's what 50 years of following the equations leads to. And after all those years, I've learned to trust the equations even when they take me somewhere I didn't expect to go, especially then.